left-handed hitters, which poses a problem. They got a good manager. I mean, they're a good team. If you get to this point, I know what he's like. We also know him too, and he knows us. So I can't brag on him too much. He's one of mine and my wife's favorite players. A lot of people's favorite player around here.
Yeah, you're not wrong on that, Dusty. All right, 800-224-2004. That was Dusty Baker talking about the ALDS matchup that starts Saturday right here in Houston as the Astros take on the Minnesota Twins. The Twins, which have to be one of the best storylines in all of baseball. It's great to see streaks come to an end. Not only did they win a playoff game for the first time in 18 years, they won a playoff series for the first time in 2 decades. Good for them. Good for Minnesota to finally show that they're not the dumpster fire in the land of 10,000 tears. Good for them. If I am a Houston Astros fan, which I am not entirely confident in this series for 2 main reasons. For starters, my pitching. My pitching poses a problem because I don't know what I'm going to get. Am I going to get superstar Justin Verlander, AL Cy Young candidate Framber Valdez, quality number 2 pitcher Christian Javier? What am I going to get from the young guys like JP France and Hunter Brown? What am I getting from the bullpen? Dear God, Dusty, please do not play Rafael Montero for everyone in the city of Houston that wants to see a title come back here and we could still be the world-class beaters. Do not play Rafael Montero, okay? I'm glad we've understood that situation. But the Twins, they're not a bad team. I have given this team so much flack throughout the year because they played in the AL Central. And the AL Central was basically, here, do you want it? Here, do you want the win? Do you want the division? Now you take the division. Now you take the division. Now you take the division. Okay, Minnesota, how about you just take it and we'll just shut up? Like, that's where they were all season. One team finished above 500. Cleveland was supposed to be good. Chicago was supposed to turn the corner. Kansas City lost 100 games. And then the Detroit Tigers basically knew that they were going to be mid, and they ended up finishing in second place, which was really cool for Miguel Cabrera to at least see the positivity trending upward for the organization he spent the better part of his career with and revitalized the franchise and did a great job and was an excellent ambassador to the game and the clubhouse, like all that. But the Twins do have 2 things at their disposal, which are going to be really poignant. Number one, they can hit a lot of home runs. They can drive the ball out of that park. It's crazy, right? They're second in Major League Baseball, third in Major League Baseball, my apologies, only behind the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves in home runs with 223. They also are really good at putting the ball in play. They currently are just outside the top 10 in hits, but they are inside the top 10 in doubles. So they do a good job of at least making plays. They also can strike you out. They lead Major League Baseball this year in strikeouts, and they got pitchers. Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez. I think they have 9 pitchers total that have a strikeout per 9 rate of 10 plus. So if you end up having those struggles at the plate, whether it be from Yordan Alvarez to Jose Altuve to Alex Bregman, and you allow this team to kind of wheel and deal you down, you're in some trouble. You are. Now, there is a positive here. There's always a positive in everything. Well, Cole, how can there be a positive when you just talk about how negatively the Astros are bent to play? Twins strike out a lot. Like, Twins, they kind of are what baseball seems to be as of late, where you only come to the ballpark to watch long balls or strikeouts. They lead the league, or the American League, let me phrase that, in home runs. They lead all of Major League Baseball in strikeouts. They struck out over 1,600 times this year. The next closest were the Seattle Mariners and the Colorado Rockies. Both of them struck out fewer than 50 times less. So they're either going to put the ball in the stands or going to be walking back to the dugout with the legs between their legs, just saying, crap, you did again. I'm not saying that the Houston Astros are going to lose this series. In fact, I would say as of right now, the fact that they won the division and they had the bye to be able to regroup, recalibrate, and reset their minds is a huge advantage for the Houston Astros. And I know, America, you hate the Astros. Why would you not hate the Astros? They're the Trastros, the bang bang. They're pussing out their chest. They just had the reporter from Texas delete her Twitter account because of how many people were so toxic to her on social media. This is a problem with social media. Hate to break it to you. You don't need to be a keyboard warrior. You don't need to defend the team that way. I get it. I'm an Astros fan. I'm all in on that. But here's the problem. What's rule number one in society, people? There's a rule when it comes to sports. Don't say you want the champs. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. And this is not on the Twins players, who has a very good roster. Royce Lewis has been an Astros killer. He got brought up at the start of the year when they played each other, and he had a home run in that game, and he was dominant. Carlos Correa, playoff Carlos, was on display against the Toronto Blue Jays. He not only had the hit that eventually gave them the lead in game 2, but he also had one exceptional play. Bo Bichette's round in third. He's trying to go ahead and score, maybe bring in a little bit more of that optimism and give the momentum swing in favor of Toronto. And he just drills a fastball right at the catcher. Boom, out of the plate. So playoff Carlos Correa is alive and well right now, and that's a big scare. So the players, they're fine. They've done their job. They have handled business. Rule number one is don't be screaming, "We want Houston." And you don't do this in anywhere. And I can tell you this not as an Astros fan. I can tell you this as an Alabama grad and as somebody who still roots for the Crimson Tide, even though I am pretty unbiased when it comes to my coverage in college football. How many times I have heard over the years, "We want Bama." No, the hell you don't. Because what happens is you get Bama and you get all of Bama. You get every single bells and whistles of Bama, and they're basically saying that, hey, bulletin board material, that rat poison, this game is over by halftime. You don't do that. You don't do that ever. Because the second that you piss off a team and say you want them, you get them. You get them at full display. And that, my friends, is a concern. Don't be that guy. Don't be that fan base. You can have the hype and the positivity. You just won a playoff series. Be thankful. Be thankful you're no longer the laughingstock. And by the way, Minnesota sports have been atrocious for years. In fact, if you want to be a fan of a team and you don't know who to root for, don't pick anybody in Minnesota because the Vikings have never won a Super Bowl. And they really haven't been relevant outside of that 1 year where Case Keenum got the Minneapolis Miracle. The Twins haven't won anything since the 90s. The Wild are a replacement team after the Dallas Stars, who were originally in Minneapolis, decided to head down to the Lone Star State. And you know, another team decided to go ahead and say, see you later to Minneapolis. And they've won countless championships in La La Land. And to add insult to injury, they kept the same name. You do realize the Lakers are not named the Lakers because of the ownership group when they were out in Los Angeles wanted to have alliteration. No, they were the Lakers when they were in Minnesota. And then you have the Minnesota Timberwolves come in there, and that's going to be one of the worst run organizations in all professional sports. So let's just get this out of the way. Minnesota sports right now has been god-awful and a heartbreaker to everybody. I have a friend that actually lives in Minnesota, and I texted him right before the start of the AL wildcard, and he's like, I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready. I already have my drinks poured out. I'm going to drink an ice cold pop, and I'm going to get drunk off rum, and that's what's going to happen. And you know what? Good for them. Good for him. He won a playoff series. Rule number one, never say we want the champs. Know your role in society. Because the second that you get them, and if they play up to their standard and not down to yours, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble. I think this series goes to 4 games. I do think the Astros will lose one matchup. And then it's going to be really interesting to see who they play in the ALCS. And then, yes, I do believe that the Astros will win. I don't know if they'll lose game 3. I don't know if they'll lose in front of the home crowd at the juice box. And then they'll have major heartbreak in Minneapolis, whether that be on October 10th or October 11th. It'd be really cool to see it on October 10th because that's my birthday, but I'm not going to go that far. They're going to win this series, but then you have to see who they face off against in the next round. And unfortunately for Minnesota, they may have great pitching, headlined by Pablo Lopez, Sonny Gray, Joe Ryan, and Johan Duran. That's pretty cool. But your fans might just ruin this for you. We want Houston. Well, you're going to get them. Guess what else you're going to get? A big ol' L to take home in the process. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. Don't hit the X button yet. Make sure you hit subscribe to keep up with all of our daily content found on Just Saying It and anything else that we post on this channel. Bye.